Conditions inside migrant holding cell in NYC high-rise. DHS denies overcrowding. Shocking new footage has emerged from inside a Manhattan high-rise, revealing unsanitary and overcrowded conditions where migrants are allegedly being held for days. While advocacy groups and local officials raise alarms over possible human rights violations, the Department of Homeland Security insists the site is merely a processing center, not a detention facility. If you are interested in this topic, please pay attention and watch the video through to the end to get all the information. Please hit like and subscribe, and don't forget to push the notification bell for an upcoming video. Videos released Tuesday by the New York Immigration Coalition reveal conditions inside a Manhattan government building, where they say detained migrants are held without adequate food, medical care, or access to shower for days and even weeks at a time. The videos, taken inside the 10th floor 26 Federal Plaza, show numerous people standing, sitting or sprawled on the floor with foil blankets and 2 toilets in the open space, separated by chest-height blocks. The Department of Homeland Security said the space, where Democratic politicians have publicly tried to gain access to, is not a migrant detention facility, rather an IC law enforcement office used only as a processing center. NYC's claims, like dogs in here, what we know. The caption on a post on X by NYC alleges the 10th floor 26 Federal Plaza is where people are being held for days or weeks at a time without showers, medication, or change of clothes, sleeping on the floor and with minimal food and outside contact. The American dream at 26 Federal Plaza, said the person shooting the video, as translated in the post. Look how they have us here, like we're dogs. In recent months, members of Congress have repeatedly been denied access to the floor because IC officials state the building is not technically a detention facility, and therefore access cannot be granted. DHS statement, the other side. DHS Secretary Tricia McLaughlin said in a statement to Fox 5 New York, 26 Federal Plaza is not a detention center. It is a federal building with an IC law enforcement office inside of it. A press release by the DHS stated, claims there's overcrowding or subprime conditions in IC facilities are categorically false. All detainees are provided with proper meals, medical treatment, and have opportunities to communicate with their family members and lawyers. The statement also said, despite a historic number of injunctions, DHS is working overtime to remove these illegal aliens from detention centers to their final destination, home. NYC Comptroller and Public Advocate respond. Following the release video, NYC Comptroller Brad Lander, alongside Public Advocate Jermaine Williams, held a press conference regarding the 10th floor of 26 Federal Plaza. The two sent a letter on Tuesday to the FDNY and the New York City Department of Buildings, urging the agencies to conduct an immediate inspection of the 10th floor to determine whether any laws in NYC are being violated. What NYC Mayor Adams is saying. What they're saying, amidst local officials pressuring for action, NYC Mayor Eric Adams also addressed the video in a letter to the U.S. General Services Administration, an agency responsible for managing federally owned and leased property. Mayor Adams urged GSA to conduct an immediate inspection of the 10th floor to ensure the facility is being used lawfully. In the letter, Adams says that public information indicates individuals have been held at the facility for an average of more than 4 days. Congresswoman accuses IC of lying about conditions. ICE have claimed it's not a detention facility, just a processing center, to block members of Congress from exercising our legal right to conduct oversight. This video confirms what we feared all along. ICE has been lying and locking us out to hide what's happening inside, said Representative Nydia M. Velasquez, Democrat, New York, in a press release. The backstory: in June, Representative Dan Goldman, Democrat, New York, and Representative Gerald Nadler, Democrat, New York, went to 26 Federal Plaza to demand access to the federal building's 10th floor after early reports indicated migrants were being held there for long periods of time, according to Fox 5 NY's Morgan McKay. However, federal officers refused, saying that since it is a processing center, they do not have to grant the congressional members access. Their visit to the Federal Immigration Building came after the arrest of NYC Comptroller Brad Lander by ICE agents. If they're going to treat Comptroller Lander, if they're going to treat Senator Padilla, if they're going to treat Congresswoman McIver the way that these agents have been treating them, as if it's the police state out in the open in the public, how are they treating immigrants behind closed doors who have to sleep on floors for multiple nights? Said Representative Goldman. Congress members demand to inspect 26 Federal Plaza. The congressman said they observed the government trying to dismiss immigration cases in the courtroom. The representatives stated that U.S. ICE Deputy Field Director Bill Joyce and Field Office Director Judith Almodovar confirmed reports that immigrants were sleeping on the floor at 26 Federal Plaza. Representative Goldman also reported in a press release that he spoke to multiple individuals that have been held in the facilities at 26 Federal Plaza who shared the horrifying conditions in the room. NYC Democrats sent a letter to the Department of Homeland Security. Following the press conference, 9 New York City Democrats also sent a letter to Kristi Noem, Secretary of the Department of Homeland Security, to allow congressional oversight access to ICE field offices, such as the one at 26 Federal Plaza. In the letter, the members of Congress say that ICE denying or delaying their constitutional oversight visits is a violation of the law. New congressional visitation guidelines spark outrage. In response, new guidelines were released in June that said lawmakers cannot conduct inspections at ICE field offices, and members of Congress are required to give at least a 72-hour notice before they can visit an ICE facility, according to Democracy Docket. Those guidelines have since been removed from the official Homeland Security website. Now, DHS requires requests to be made a minimum of 7 calendar days in advance to schedule visits to DHS detention facilities, according to U.S. Customs and Borders Protection website. The new DHS rules for congressional visitations sparked outrage among certain representatives. Representative Benny G. Thompson, Democrat, Mississippi, says there is no valid reason for denying members of Congress access to ICE facilities. This unlawful policy is a smokescreen to deny member visits to ICE offices across the country, which are holding migrants and sometimes even U.S. citizens for days at a time. They are therefore detention facilities and are subject to oversight and inspection at any time. DHS pretending otherwise is simply their latest lie. That is all for today in this video. What are your thoughts on this? Please let us know in the comments section below. Thanks for watching the entire video. Hopefully, the information is useful to you. See you later in the next video. Till then, take care.
Conditions inside migrant holding, selling, New York high-rise. DHS denies overcrowding. Shocking footage from Manhattan, 26 Federal Plaza. Reveals migrants held in a overcrowded, unsanitary conditions, allegedly without access to showers, medical care, or adequate food. Advocacy groups and local officials describe people sleeping on floors with foil, blankets, and minimal facilities. The Department of Homeland Security denies it's a detention center, calling it a processing site. Despite this, members of Congress and New York officials have been repeatedly denied access to inspect the space. New York Mayor Eric Adams and other officials demanded immediate inspections, citing possible legal violations. DHS insists conditions meet legal standards, though Democratic lawmakers claim ICE is using semantics to avoid oversight. Newly implemented DHS guidelines require a 7-day notice for congressional visit, prompting outrage and accusations of cover-ups. Representative Nydia Valensky accuses ICE of lying, while Representatives Dan Goldman highlight first-hand accounts of a horrifying condition. The situation has intensified calls for transparency and legal accountability from our federal authorities.